Welcome to Give Me Grace, a project founded by Nolan Mickelson, and he brought me, Alan, or Corky Hansen, in on it, for which I'm grateful. We will begin this episode as we did our prior episode, with Nolan's notes. Nolan, take it away.
Yeah, episode 5, here we are. Just a couple of Nolan's notes today. I wanted to give a shout out to Laurie Hooley, who sent us a picture of the bluebell that we were able to use in episode 3. Thank you for doing that. And then another shout out to an unnamed person, but she knows who she is, who contacted the two of us, interestingly enough, and asked for our addresses. So did you get anything in the mail yet?
No.
I haven't either, but I'm excited to see what it is.
Yeah.
So on a side note of that note,
hope it isn't like she's paying someone to egg our houses or something.
Who knows?
Probably not.
We don't solicit things in the mail, but certainly if you were willing to send us, some donuts or some money or whatever, we wouldn't turn it down, but probably not a wise thing to send money through the mail anyway. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, let's bring in our guest if he's ready.
I'm so excited.
Well, that gives it away who it is already, right there.
Well, we title the episodes after the person. So there he is.
How we doing?
Hey, Chad.
Chad,
it's so good to see you.
It's good to see you guys too. Hey, the school's behind you there, Nolan.
That's right. I'm at Thatcher Elementary.
They're, I think, tearing that down or something now, I thought I heard.
I don't know exactly what the plan is, but someone else apparently bought that.
Yeah.
They'll do with it what they want, I guess.
What do you mean? It's not used as a school anymore? Is that recent?
No.
There's no more Thatcher Elementary. Everybody goes to Grace.
I guess that makes sense. They've consolidated a lot of stuff.
Grace is a school district of 3 schools.
that are all right next to each other.
Yeah. So. They're the only move next. The left is to consolidate and be a K-12.
Yeah, well, they tore down Grace Elementary. It's a whole new building now.
I heard that. Somebody told us that. Was it Tina? Yeah, I think it was Tina told us that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
Where are you at, Chad?
I'm in my yard in Brigham City. Well, Honeyville, which is just north of Brigham.
Oh, yeah, okay.
The suburb of Brigham, Honeyville.
Yep.
Awesome.
How far is Honeyville from Brigham City?
It's about 10 miles, 8 miles, something like that.
Okay.
Is Honeyville along the interstate, or is it along that highway that goes down into Cache Valley?
It's along the highway, just back against the mountains.
Yeah. Okay. But still on the west side of the mountains.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
That's a nice little drive.
Yeah, we like it.
Awesome.
Is it commonly referred to as Brigham or Brigham City?
Either or.
Yeah. Or Brig. Do you shorten it up, the locals? Let's call it Brig.
Brigham for anybody that just knows where Brigham City is. If they don't know where it is, then you got to say Brigham City, and then you usually have to go to just north of Ogden.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
The last city you enjoy before the traffic starts is the way I put it.
Yeah. The north end of the huge metropolis.
Yeah.
You got a wild animal behind you, it looks like.
Oh, that's probably my dog. And he is wild.
That's foreshadowing. So we'll get
that.
Yeah, it is.
And a little bit. I guess I kind of started, so I'll finish this section off. It's
your turn anyway. Yeah, you go.
Okay. We're in episode 5, so we're getting organized here. So we know where you live. Tell us what you do.
Well, right now I am I'm in admin. I was a teacher, and right now I'm in admin, and they're just switching me schools. I'm going from Brigham City Middle, which is Box Elder Middle School, out to Tremont, which is Bear River Middle School.
Oh, wow.
That's all in the same school district?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a big.
Little different than Grace. Not three schools right next to each other.
Not
But
definitely.
it covers about a quarter of Utah, right?
Yeah, it covers a lot of Utah. It goes clear out Park Valley, Grouse Creek, way out in the western, touching Nevada,
Hmm.
and then Brigham City and Tremont area, which is two high schools.
Okay. Very good.
How about that? So are you a principal? Middle school principal?
I'm the assistant principal at the
Okay.
middle school.
Okay.
I've kind of made my rounds through lots of different schools.
Okay. Very good. All in the same district there?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, tell us about your family.
So my wife, Christy, she's actually from Grace. She was a Staley. I have a son that is 24, Kelton. He lives in Boise. He's big into languages, speaks German and French, and he loves to study languages and linguistics and dialects and all of that. And he's trying to figure out how to make that into a career.
Awesome.
Oh, and I should say my wife, she teaches preschool here at our home.
Wow.
Then I have a daughter that got off the mission about a year ago. She actually worked at the school with me for a while. We couldn't fill a position, and so I talked her into coming and helping us out, and it's kind of sparked her, not as a teacher, but she's looking at going into speech language pathology and some of that. I think that's what Tina does. Tina
That
Rigby.
is correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so she's kind of looking at that, and she's just getting ready to head to Provo to go to Utah State. I know that makes a lot of sense. She's doing her schooling online, and she's following a young man who plays on the lacrosse team for BYU.
Okay. I figured there had to be a dude involved, because if you're going to Utah State, why wouldn't you live in Logan?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So following
Okay.
a boyfriend down there that plays lacrosse for BYU.
Is that a club team, or is that athletics?
It's athletics. It's not the same level, as Duke or Notre Dame or those.
But it's like a recognized sport at BYU?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, they
That's
actually for their size, they were national champs this last year.
Wow.
They won the championship. So it was kind of fun to watch it on TV, and hey, we know that guy.
That is cool.
So it was fun.
Wow.
And then my youngest, so the middle one is Kaylee. My youngest is Mikkel, and she's going to be a senior at the high school here.
How does she spell McHale?
Makell.
Mikkel.
Okay.
Got
I was hoping for MCHALE.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Nope.
But McHale works too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's your youngest, McHale?
That's my youngest.
And how old is she again?
She's a senior in high school this next year.
Okay. And so
she's 17.
You'll get to see her at school, or?
No, because we were lined up because I was at Box Elder Middle. She goes to Box Elder High, but now where I'm going out to Bear River, I'm at a different school. So it's kind of like she's going to Grace High and I'm out at Soda.
Yeah.
Did she want you to be in the same school, or she'd be like, "No, Dad, that's not cool to have your dad hanging around at your school"?
It depends on the day.
Okay.
Depends on the day.
I can see that.
She came through the school while I was there, and every once in a while, I have to get after a kid, and they'll be cussing me, and then somebody will say something about, "Oh, that's Mikkel's dad," and they go, "What?"
Yeah.
They never make the connection.
I would. Yeah. So I was going to ask you if you do discipline. Is that part of your?
Yeah, I do.
job?
I do that a lot.
Okay. All right.
Do that quite a bit. And I've been, I started out teaching at Box Elder Middle. I did that for 10 years. Then I went actually to Bear River Middle as an admin. And then I went to Bear River High. And while I was at Bear River High, I was also doing an elementary. And then I went to Box Elder Middle as admin, and now I'm back to Bear River. So I've kind of moved around.
Yeah.
So I've got a taste of all levels.
Awesome.
All right. Tell us about your dog and if you have any other pets there.
Oh, we live on about 3 acres, so we've had pets quite a bit.
Yeah.
The dog's actually my daughter's, and we've always had a dog here. We seem to be a magnet for stray cats. We have a lot of trees, and there's some barns up above us that aren't on our property, and they seem to be the place where people drop off stray cats. So about every year we end up with a new stray. Sometimes I trap them, and I have a friend who lives on a farm, and he says, "Bring them down and turn them loose in my hay barn." I have lots of mice, so we do that occasionally. But yeah, and then we have chickens, we have turkeys, a few things like that, mostly to get rid of grasshoppers.
So how many chickens?
Oh, I just have like 6 or so.
Okay, the Rigby's had chickens for their eggs, so we're just curious if
Yeah,
you do.
and we get a few, so we get some eggs, but that isn't the main reason we have them.
Yeah.
We get a lot of grasshoppers in the summer here, and they keep them down for us.
Okay. You don't use your chicken eggs for egg fights?
I used to do that as a kid, but it was when you'd find them in the barn and they were partially rotten.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the fun ones.
Those are the best, yeah.
But you had to be careful because sometimes just by moving them, they were so rotten they'd explode. And so sometimes that'd backfire on you. I don't know if you had that, Nolan, if you ran into the rotten eggs.
We had some egg fights in the upstairs of our barn too, yeah. Yeah. When you're upset with one of your siblings and the closest thing you can find to throw at them is a chicken egg.
That's right.
That's what you do. What did you do right after high school? So take us through that from 35 years ago till now. What's been your path?
I right after high school, I went to Rick's College and did a semester at Rick's College. Interesting there. My roommate that I shared a room with is actually Ginger Christensen, Erland's husband.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
And so she was at Rick's College too, and we did a lot together. And so she met him there as my roommate. And then I went off went on a mission, and pretty soon I get a letter saying, "Hey, we're engaged."
Wow, that's awesome.
So it was kind of fun.
Yeah.
You were a matchmaker, or just kind of happened that way?
I just think it just kind of happened.
Okay.
But so then I went on my mission to Guatemala. I came back to BYU, transferred, finished up at Utah State, and then I started teaching. Kind of an interesting story here. When I graduated from Utah State, it was in '98, I believe it was. And I was looking for jobs and struggling to find a teaching job because it was late in the year. So we kind of threw the net out a little wider to be a little further from home if we needed to. And I actually had a school in Colorado contact me, said, "Hey, yeah, we'd love to have you come be a teacher." And they kind of did a phone interview, and they said, "We would love for you to come here and see what you think." And I said, "Well, let me talk it over with my wife." And we thought about it a little bit. And in the meantime, they had somebody within the school district that transferred. And so then they contact me back and says, "Oh, sorry, it got filled within the school district. Keep us in mind."
Wow.
And then I got a job at Brigham City teaching at the middle school there. But about 9-10 months later, the school that I almost got hired at was all over the news. It was Columbine High School.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
So
and it was it was around that time, 99.
I was very close to being there.
A teacher in the school.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Kind of a crazy. I'm glad I got where I did.
Yeah. Yeah, Bear River probably had a milder 1999 than Columbine, I'm guessing.
Yes, it much better.
So I've got 2 questions regarding what you were just talking about. You were in BYU in Provo?
Uh-huh.
At what time?
Oh, let's see. I got home from my mission in 92.
So did I.
So probably would have been fall of 92.
I had no idea. We were in Provo too.
Oh,
I mean, how long were you in Provo for?
I was there for about 2 years.
Okay.
And then, my wife and I started dating, and she was at Rick's College. I was, thinking, "Oh, I'm going into education." And so was she. She was actually going to be a teacher. So we both, Utah State's the school for that. So we were both going to transfer to Utah State, but she was on scholarship and had one more year. So I actually went to Rexburg and we got married, and I was in Rexburg for about a year.
Okay.
Just working while she finished up, and then we transferred to Utah State together.
How about that?
So
What year did you get married?
95.
Okay.
That's when Nicole and I got married. Yep.
Yeah.
95.
So let's see. When you were teaching, what did you teach?
I had a degree in health and history.
Okay.
And so I taught history mostly, but I did teach some health. And then because I spoke Spanish, I started being the English as a second language person, and which led me all kinds of places. For a while, while I was being admin, I was also the migrant and ELL coordinator for the school district. And, as a teacher, I also coached football and track and some of those things while I was there.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you did any coaching. That's cool.
I did.
Very cool.
Quite a bit of it.
Did y'all take state?
Funny story. They asked me if I'd come and coach track, and they says, "What did you do in track?" And I said, "Oh, I did a lot of different things,
and
hurdles, sprints, distance. I did a little bit of everything." And they said, "Oh, good. That's just what we need, because we're looking for a pole vault coach." I'm like, "What the heck?"
That's not something we had.
I don't know if I ever even saw it in person. And they said, "Well, we need you to," it was a new thing that they were doing. Very few schools did it. And so I had 4 pole vaulters and I'd watch VSH tapes and then go try to teach them how to pole vault. And we had a pole vaulter from Utah State that would come over once a week and teach them some tricks. And I actually had the state champion pole vaulter, but there were only about 10 in the state doing it. But I had the state champion and the runner-up in pole vault for 1 year there. So that was kind of fun.
Did you ever try it? Did you ever try pole vault? Did you ever do it?
Heck no. Heck no. We're too old for that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
you know that?
Yeah. I know that about me for sure. Yeah.
They asked us one time to do a coach's relay. And they wanted us to do the 4x400. And I thought, I can do that. That's what I ran. And then we changed it to the 4x100. And I almost didn't finish.
Yeah. I bet 400 feels a lot longer now than it did back then.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it would.
Yeah.
Any other questions, Corky?
Nope, I don't think so. Should we move on? All right.
Yeah, we're going
to. I've got a few questions for you. These are just asking you about your favorite stuff. So how about favorite food and beverage?
I'm probably a Mexican guy.
Yeah.
Like my Mexican food. I do like Chinese food though too, but I really like Mexican food.
Very good.
You like Guatemalan food?
It's not the same as Mexican food. It doesn't have the flavor Mexican food does.
You are 100% correct, my friend.
And your wife's from Guatemala, correct?
Yes.
Her family is. I don't know if she ever lived there, but
she was born there.
Was she?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Yeah, so it's just not the same. Not quite the same.
I agree. I prefer Mexican food.
So I prefer the Mexican.
Yeah.
Drink.
Yeah.
I'm pretty boring. I'm not a soda guy. My wife, she's very healthy that way, so we don't even really have it in the house. So I'm pretty much just water. I don't even do flavored water really. I just water. I have water bottles in my hand most of the time.
All right. Very good. That sounds like a coach.
He's healthy.
Yeah. Very good. Oh, and I had this suggestion. My wife Nicole says, "Why don't you ask people about their favorite dessert?" So I'll ask you, Chad. What's your
Oh.
favorite dessert?
You know what? I love ice cream. I think I'd take ice cream over almost anything.
That's a good one.
But I do like cheesecake.
Also a
It's
good
just
one.
you can't eat as much cheesecake as you can ice cream because it's so rich.
That's true. So cheesecake flavored ice cream is probably right where
Oh, that would be
it
good.
hurts. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
That
right.
would that would be good.
Yeah.
But what
Nothing
Very
like Aggie ice cream.
what about BYU ice cream?
You know
Oh.
what? I'd take Aggie over it, I think.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Even though I'm a BYU guy.
Yeah. There's always a rivalry with their ice creams.
Yeah.
I've heard people talk about both of them actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both
Both
good.
good. I mean, you can't beat fresh ice cream, but what's your favorite flavor of ice cream then if you're ice cream guy?
Oh,
He's gonna
You
say
know,
vanilla.
I like pralines and pecan with the caramel in it.
That's
All
not
right.
vanilla.
Wow.
That's usually what I get. My family says I'm boring because I always get the same thing.
Yeah. Very good. How about music, Chad? What kind of music you listen to?
You know, it's interesting because I probably was way different than most people in high school. I don't know that I had a genre or a band that was my group. It just kind of depended on the situation. I mean, Foreigner, Journey, Bon Jovi,
Mm-hmm.
but yet on the farm with my brother there a lot of the time, there was also Kiss and Guns N' Roses and Poison or whatever playing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what I listened to then. And now if you were to look at my playlist, it would be, there'd be a country song, there'd be some oldies, there'd be a hard rock. It just kind of is a little bit of everything. I don't know that I have. In fact, my kids joke around all the time. They'll say, "Who's this?" And I'll say, "I don't know. I just like the song." And it kind of depends on the situation too. Because if I'm working out, it's back to the Guns N' Roses and a little more hard rock. And if I'm with my wife, it's more country. But my daughter, that when she came off her mission, she actually she liked the oldies. She listens to the Beatles and the Monkees, and I've kind of got into that a little bit. I kind of enjoy that. So I'm a little bit everywhere. I listen to it all, kind of.
Very good. And hobbies. What do you like to do?
Oh, well, I still follow sports a lot. I don't do them near as much, but I still follow sports a lot. But I like hiking. My daughter, who's got off her mission, Kaylee, she's an outdoors person, and she's one that wants to grab the hammocks and the backpacks and go and I enjoy that. We do quite a bit of camping. I like going just on the side by sides and just kind of being outdoors. But at home, let's pull out some card games or board games and just have fun.
Yeah.
Very good. Where's some good hiking and camping around there? Do you head down toward Logan?
Usually it's over in Logan, up the canyon there.
Okay.
Those are some good hikes. She usually researches a hike and says, "Hey, Dad, I want to do this one. Let's go." So we did a trip along the Oregon coast, and she had all these hikes planned out, and so her and I went on a lot of hikes. Well, my wife and my other daughter relaxed reading books.
Very good.
So
very good. So the question that sums up this section is, have these changed from high school? You talked about music. What about hobbies? Was it just playing sports? Was that your hobby?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the same. We camped quite a bit as a family, but
okay.
It's pretty much the same. Down there in Lego, the mountains were, you went a quarter of a mile and you were in the mountains from where I lived. And so, we did a lot of hiking, horseback riding, stuff like that.
Okay. Very good.
We were kind of talking about with some of the other recent interviews. What did you do for fun in 1989? Did you go to the flume? Or?
Nolan, I'm a lot like you. I'm not a swimmer,
Yeah.
not a good swimmer. So I didn't really do the flume. When you're talking, things of high school with friends, you got the dragging main, toilet papering,
Mhm.
Fair
did the
share.
toilet papering quite a bit. And then just, hang out and all nighters at people's houses sometimes.
Right. Did you, so now that you're an admin or a teacher, do you get toilet papered?
Oh yeah, maybe you're a target.
You know what? They don't do that really anymore.
Oh, okay.
They're too busy with their video game.
Yeah, it's more
Yeah.
cyberbullying now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'll have kids say, "So where do you live?" And I always tell them a different city. I live in Willard. I don't want them to know where I live.
That's
all
a
those
good answer.
all those poor people in Willard getting forked because you're sending kids over there.
Yeah, but they don't do things like that really anymore, which is kind of sad in a way. We were
Yeah.
talking about that, my wife and I, where how we'd go toilet paper, and my kids said, "What's that?"
Oh wow.
We're like, "What?"
Toilet
And
paper
so
is expensive.
Yeah,
I
yeah, really.
I hate to admit it, but we actually took my kids' toilet paper, and my wife and I, and did it one time just to let them experience it.
That's awesome.
In Grace?
No, it was here. It was here in the community,
Oh,
and
okay.
I'm sure people were like, "What the heck happened to this house? Why did they do this?"
They're probably
Wow,
like,
that's awesome.
we haven't been toilet papered in 25 years.
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
Well,
but it was fun.
yeah, that's good family activity.
Yeah, I guess.
The kids will be like, this is boring.
Oh, they had fun with it. Actually, they're like, "This is kind of fun trying to do this without getting caught."
There is a rush to it. There is
Yeah,
a
there
rush to it.
is.
Yeah.
Well, any other follow-up questions or we'll
No,
move
that's
to-
it. Go ahead.
So we kind of know the answer to the first question. You went to Thatcher, correct?
Yes.
The whole time? The
Yep.
second? Yeah. Look at that picture right there. And if you can figure it out, kind of the closest corner of the building, I think that's where we used to play Foursquare.
Oh, yeah.
Just right
Yeah, I
outside
think
there
so.
on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a bigger sidewalk area, I think.
It was almost the perfect place to play Foursquare because it was almost like a good sections of concrete to play Foursquare.
And they were sectioned off, I think, almost
Yeah.
for you already.
Right. So you were in second grade at Thatcher, Corky?
Yeah. First and second.
But you didn't play Foursquare?
I don't remember. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. What is Foursquare?
So
It's like one of those red balls.
a person in each of the four squares, and you protect your square. Like if the ball hits your square and then went out of bounds or something, then
Yeah.
Can you catch
don't
it, or
remember
do
the
you have
rules.
to hit it?
you
You
try
have
to
to
hit
hit it?
you try to grab the ball and throw it into someone else's square or something.
Okay.
I don't remember the exact rules, but we played a lot of it.
Yeah.
I don't remember. The only thing I remember about Thatcher is that they were doing a running program, and you'd get these little sticks when you went around the field,
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
and the older kids were like, teaching us younger kids how to cheat at doing it and stuff. Yeah, that's all I remember.
I remember the playground out there, and it may have been you, Nolan. Somebody slid down the swing set pole, and it had little metal pieces sticking up and sliced their hand all up.
It was not me,
Ooh.
but it was Jesus Cuevas.
Oh, that's who.
Oh,
I remembered
Jesus.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember we would race our Hot Wheels down that slide.
Yeah. It was quite steep, the slide.
Oh, they don't have slides like that anymore.
No.
No, playgrounds are
danger.
much tamer. Yeah.
What was the thing that like had the pole in the middle and then you'd
Go around in a circle.
It
The
wasn't
merry-go-rounds.
It wasn't a merry-go-round, but it was a swing on a pole.
Oh,
And if you got
yeah.
inside of that and got your legs slammed in, that thing was dangerous.
Yikes. I don't remember that one.
I don't remember what we called it, but that thing, another very violent. The teeter-totters were pretty violent.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thatcher. So pretty wild stuff.
So let's go back to this because you
Yeah.
said that somebody bought Thatcher Elementary School, like a private
Yeah.
person, and they're
I
going to
think
do
so.
something with it. Is it going to be
Yeah,
like
I
the old
guess.
Lund School? They're going to
I think
build
they
a house
wanted.
out of it?
I think they
I
want to
don't know
make
if,
it into a house, or they're going to
yeah,
tear it down and build a house or
That's a
something.
big school to do that with.
yeah.
Yeah, that
I
would
don't know
be.
what they're doing with it.
All right.
Chad, I'm going to ask you, and I'm not going to put you on the spot if you don't have any answer for this, but let's talk about Jared Rasmussen for a second and some of the memories.
Okay.
Do you remember much about one thing? I'll start it off. I remember when I would get on the school bus, you and Jared were already on the bus, and I'd sit down. The three of us would sit on a seat together, and we would talk about, if it was a Monday morning, we'd talk about the Dallas Cowboys game.
I remember.
That's right. You were both Cowboys fans.
Yeah.
I think we were
That's
all
right.
three. All three.
Yeah.
Jared too. Okay.
Do you have any memories of Jared or Dean there at Thatcher Elementary?
You know, it's interesting because being at Thatcher, we were always, Grace had 2 second grades, 2 third grades. We were always in the same class.
True.
And so I think you got really close with your classmates, and we all kind of hung out and did a lot of things together. Jared and I were really good friends, especially early on. I remember going to his house a lot, and he had kind of a bunch of trees out in kind of the front to the side of his house.
Yeah.
We would play for hours and hours, spend all day out there just messing around and played a lot. And I remember, and I think you did this too, Nolan, on the last day of school, riding our bikes to school.
Yep. Every year.
And I always think back then, and I think, how did my parents dare let us not only ride the 5 miles or whatever, but along the highway as these elementary
down
kids.
that.
And then down that hill. That was a
Yeah.
big hill coming down there by the elementary school.
Yeah. So, I think we all just kind of were pretty close, where it was, we're always in the same grade and church, everything. It was just us.
Yeah.
And that's kind of cool. Dean, the biggest thing I remember there is, I think that was the first time when he passed away that I really experienced losing somebody,
right,
and how that was kind of hard.
Very hard.
It was just young kids trying to process that in your mind.
Yeah, I agree.
And a friend like that was a hard thing.
It was.
And
I remember,
I even
remember that funeral.
Yeah, I remember even, for even several years when you're out on the tractor and you're starting to go down a hill, he would always pop into my mind.
Yeah.
And so, that was tough. That was a tough thing.
I agree. And I appreciate you sharing that, because I kind of surprised you with those couple things. But, I think it's important that we remember all those guys in our classes that are no longer with us. But I'll share one more kind of story with Jared that I remember, and then we'll move on. Because we went to Thatcher, our bus would drop us off, and we had about half an hour before school started.
Yeah.
And then we had a half an hour after school before the bus picked us up, because it got to go to Grace and come back to Grace. So we had like 5 recesses, it seemed like. It was wonderful, but we had that big hill behind the school, and we had these inner tubes, and we got this idea: if you sat in the inner tube inside,
roll down it.
And I remember, do you remember Jared going down that hill in the inner tube?
Yep.
And every other word was a colorful word. That was something else, but those were good moves.
I remember we'd go up on that hill, and sometimes you'd get out of sight of the building, and then all of a sudden we'd go look, and the playground was empty, and it'd be 10 minutes after the bell rang, and we didn't realize it rang.
And then so you'd run down the hill, and it's so steep you're about falling down, coming down.
Yeah.
Wild days.
I've got a memory of Jared that I really cherish. And Nolan, you and I talked about this in the first podcast, of all the families that kind of helped us through when my dad got hurt.
Yeah.
And the Rasmussens were one of them. Yeah. I remember my mom had to go to Salt Lake when my dad was in the hospital, and I was farmed out to the Rasmussens. And I think it was like right after Christmas It was right after Christmas, and there was so much snow that school got canceled for a couple of days.
Mhm.
And I was at the Rasmussens, so Billy and Danny and Jared and I just made this huge fort. There was like where all the plows would put the snow from
Yeah.
like down. I can't remember who lived down the hill, but it was Tingies. I think the Tingies lived down there.
Yeah.
And
Oh
so
yeah.
they would put all the snow for those roads right there. And we built it was the most amazing snow fort you could imagine. I wish I could go back and see it. 'Cause it probably wasn't as great as it seemed in my mind's eye, but it was like we had like different rooms and different ways in and out and a secret way in. It was fantastic. So we spent like 3 days doing that instead of going to school. That was awesome.
Good memories. And Chad, your dad drove the bus for Thatcher for a long time, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, forever.
Who were your favorite teachers at Grace High and at the junior high school?
Oh, I absolutely loved Mrs. Gummersall. In fact, I remember one time she always tried to seem so stern, and she'd that little smile. And I remember one time, when you'd be reading along and somebody would come to a word they couldn't pronounce, and so somebody would say the word. Do you remember the story? David Miller. The word was like the, because somebody lost their place. He goes the, and she was trying, and I don't know if it was her reading or somebody else. I don't really remember, but I remember her trying to act so stern about it, and she had to keep kind of covering her mouth because she kept smiling.
We were so bad in that class. Oh, I told it in one of the other episodes. She would send other people to the principal's office, but for some reason she'd just send me to sit out in the hallway. I don't know, she took it easy on me, but man, I spent a lot of time in that hallway.
And I loved Mrs. Harris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate freshmen, but I remember when I was on student council, I was in her office doing something with student council. There was a group of us, and somebody got sent down to the office, and she got up and says, "Well, I'm going to have you guys step out. I got to put on my mean face."
Mm.
And the kid goes into the office, and you could hear her just letting him have it, yelling at him, cussing. And then he walks out, and she motioned for us to come back in and says, "Okay," and started to smile and joke around again. It was just a side of her that I don't know everybody got to see.
Yeah. Let me ask you, do you know, are those two still living, or Gummersall and Harris, or they passed away?
I think Mrs. Gummersall is. It almost sticks in my mind that maybe Mrs. Harris passed away.
We'll have to find out.
Yeah, I don't know on that one, but it sticks in my mind like she did.
Yeah, we're trying to honor our teachers as well. So you talked about being on the student council. What was your position on the student council?
I was vice president.
Okay.
Vice.
Of the whole school
Yeah,
when you were a senior?
yeah.
So that would have been with Tori. Tori
Yeah.
Gibbs was our student body president, right? Yeah.
Yep. And Corey was class
He was
president.
the class president.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The junior high.
Okay.
Yeah, I really like Mr. Wilker, Mr. Lloyd. I got a kick out of Mr. Washburn, where when he would get serious, he'd roll his shoulder,
Yeah.
and the finger in the chest.
We were trying to think of who that was.
I thought Mr.
Washburn
Washburn did that?
That's what I thought
Mr. Wilker
too.
did that too.
But roll his shoulder and kind of do that little thing with his
Yeah.
head.
Yeah, it kind of was a tick. It was a tell, certainly, that he was losing it. Yeah.
As soon as you saw him do that, like, okay, time to back off.
Yeah, back off just a little bit.
Oh boy. Good stories. What is something from that time that you think about regularly?
From that time, it's interesting. When I was at Bear River High, anytime like junior prom would come up, I would think a lot back to,
Wow.
what was it like, and compare, and some of the traditions we had compared to what they do now, or homecoming week, the traditions they have that we did. You go back to like freshman initiation where we dressed up, which no one would dare do anymore. But they still do like the powder puff games and stuff. They still do that, but I'm always comparing those things as I was at the high school. And there's some of them I'm like, oh man, I wish we would have done this when I was in school. And others, it's like, you guys don't know how to party. We had much more fun.
Did they have a floor show at your?
No, they don't do that. They do what's called a promenade, where you just walk in with your date and they announce who you
it's
are.
like a red carpet thing.
Yeah. They come to that, but they don't come to the prom and see a floor show or you dance with your parents or anything like that. So it's just kind of interesting to compare they don't take all week decorating the gym. They just go somewhere else and have a dance.
Yeah.
Tell us, okay, so do you remember the junior prom floor show? Who was your partner?
You guys were talking about that on the thread, and I do not remember.
Okay.
I'm glad somebody else doesn't, because I have no idea.
It almost, I don't really remember.
I think that y'all tried to block that out of your memories. Because we spent so much time practicing. I don't know how you can't remember who your partner was.
Yeah.
You got other information stored in there, I guess.
I'm thinking it had to be somebody fairly tall.
Yeah.
And in my mind, maybe it was like Crystal Beckstead or Rhonda, somebody like that. I don't remember.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
All right. We did some stories, but how about tell us a story. Do you have a story about James Cordova from high school?
I was kind of thinking about that, and I really don't have stories about him. I do remember going to his house one time, and he had two dogs. One of them was a Doberman named Fluffy, and then he had a Chihuahua that they named Killer.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Almost
I remember laughing about that. And I don't know if that was just what he called them or if that was actually their names, but
yeah. Any other people you want to tell on from high school? Any fun stories where you can get somebody in trouble?
I remember, and I don't remember who all went, but we decided we were going to go toilet papering one time, and we wanted to get Lynn Smith. And I know Todd Hansen was there, and I think probably like Ginger and Kathy and some of them. And we had so much fun because Lynn was laying underneath a window asleep. And the window, the curtains were open. You could see him in there. And his wife, Dinah, was just walking all around the house. And we just let him have it. And I think we even wrote a message for Lynn on the window right above where he was. And that was, I don't know if it was a Friday night or a Saturday night. And school on Monday. Had no clue who it was. And the day went along. We got right to the end of the day, and I remember an announcement of Lynn's voice over the intercom saying, "Chad Kirby, please report to the gym immediately following school and be clothes." And when I got there, Todd Hansen was there, and he was sweaty, and he made Todd run until he gave him the names.
That's awesome.
And then he put us through the works. But it was also somebody was either asking me on a date or answering the date and had Lynn do it while he was making me work out.
So he had his ways, huh?
Yeah. But it was
awesome.
worth it. Things are fun.
Yeah. Good memories.
Yeah.
All right. Let's let Corky have a turn.
Before we do the Grace grab bag, I want to ask you a little bit about sports, because you were famously the one who participated in the most sports during high school. I can't remember what they called that award, but you won it. Because you were in track 4 years and basketball 4 years and football 4 years. You basically did everything we had all 4 years. So what are some of your memories from sports?
Good question.
I remember, gosh, what year would it have been? I think it was my junior year, going to state track, and we took a station wagon, and there were like 3 or 4 of us, and we get up there, and we're staying in the same place as Malad High School, who had 2 busloads. And it was like, Wow. I think one of the big memories is actually the failure where, our senior year with football, so close,
Yeah.
and just fell short. And, that was a tough one. And then you guys talked about it with Scott, looking at, man, if all of the ones who moved would have stayed with us,
Yeah.
man, we would have been a team and a half. And you even think of the class above us with like Skeeter Dexter and,
Yeah.
Bart Anderson, and you throw in, Brooks and Kevin, we would have been tough.
Yeah.
I don't
Both
think
those years. Yeah, you're right.
3A Idaho schools that could have ran a 7-footer out on the court.
Yeah, that's true.
When we played Ryrie our senior year,
Oh, that was a great game.
they were like ranked number 1 or something like
Yeah.
that. And they had 2 twins that were like 6'6".
Yeah.
And we did a small lineup and just lined up and fired threes. And I think it went to overtime
It was double overtime and we lost by 1, 89-88. And I know that because I missed the game-winning shot.
But I do remember a game, Corky, where you were a key. We were down by 9 points with 54 seconds left.
Oh, yeah. That was South Fremont. Yeah. Junior year.
I remember you took a really deep 3-pointer in those last 54
That
seconds.
was so deep. It was so deep. And if you watch the film, I'm running toward the basket because I was going to try to catch it underneath the basket because I was sure it wasn't going in.
So I remember that. That was a heck of a comeback. And I think we went to overtime and won that by
Yeah, we ended up winning that game.
Yeah, fun times.
One memory I have of you of freshman year basketball. You remember freshman year with Coach Perkins, right?
Uh-huh.
We were losing to a soda team that we shouldn't have lost to. We were down by 4 with like 2 seconds left, and you called a timeout. and we started walking toward the bench, and Coach Perkins was like, "What'd you call a timeout for? You guys have lost. Go out there and lose the game." It was so funny. He was at his wit's end with us. That was funny.
This brings up a good point. You guys can remember the score and the time and how many points you were behind for a game, but you don't remember who your floor show dance partner was.
I thought about that juxtaposition right when I said it was double overtime 89-88.
So
it really shows where my head was. Really,
right? We know what was important to y'all.
Yeah, that's
priorities when you're a teenager, I guess.
Yeah. Yep.
Very good. Good memories there.
Yeah, but we were thrown together in sports quite a bit with track senior year. Yeah. I didn't go to state junior year, but I went senior year. You went in the 4 and I went in the 8. Yeah. Yeah. So we were thrown together. We missed the senior party because we were on our way to state track.
Yeah, I went to part of it and then slipped out.
Yep. Yeah. They picked us up somewhere along the way after bowling or something on the way to Lava, I think.
Yeah. Got to drive through the night to get there.
Yeah, we did. So, Chad, where were you living when Napoleon Dynamite came out all those years ago?
I don't even remember where I was at. I don't know. I don't know where I was living.
So it wasn't a thing for you.
I remember watching it, but I don't remember where I was living at. Because I remember I watched it a couple of times, and the first time I watched it, and I'm like, this is kind of dumb. And then by the end, I kind of like it. And so then I watched it again, and then I thought it was hilarious.
There you go. That's what we like to hear.
Yeah.
But the first time through, I'm like, this is kind of stupid. This is low budget. And then by the end, though, I'm like, this is hilarious. Because it we could connect with it. We understood it.
Right.
Yeah. I've said that before, that the farmer, with the chickens, like there's like 17 of those guys living in Grace. Yeah. Yeah. You can't go the easy way with running into that guy. So,
yep.
Yeah. All right. So, Bluebell or Turner's?
I don't really remember ever going to Turner's, and I don't really remember eating at the Bluebell. I remember playing video games, pinball, and the video games.
Oh, okay.
And like French fries, but I don't really remember eating there.
Yeah, same with me. I could always have French fries, but probably didn't get much else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just know, like especially when we had like basketball practice, but it would be like 4:30 or 5.
Yeah.
And so, we go hang out there until basketball practice,
Yep.
Yeah.
things like
Yep.
that.
What about soda or Preston?
Living in Lego with family, it was always Preston. That's where we went to the dentist, stuff like that. But, soda was where I went with friends. You know, I remember going to soda when I was a freshman, and Lonnie Roberts said, "Hey, I want to go talk to a girl in soda." So he talked me into going with him, and it was just he and I. And then we got up there. It's at night, and we show up at her house, and there's half of the soda football team there.
Oh, fun.
He liked a girl that one of the main players on the soda football team liked.
Ah,
And so she wanted to talk to him. And so they went for a walk. And here I am, this freshman,
Oh, yeah.
hanging out with the senior soda football players. And they all just stared at me the whole time.
That's awesome. Lonnie was he 2? I think he was 2 years older than us,
3
right?
years.
Was he
I
3
think-
years older?
3 years older than us.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
But,
That's
I'm
quite a
like,
coup,
"Hey,
though.
here's this senior that wants to take a freshman with him." And then
Yeah.
that was a comfortable night as I sat there with them all staring at me. I'm
He
like,
trusted you. He trusted that if things got dicey, that you
That's
had his
right.
back.
That's right.
yeah.
Very good. What about Pocatello or Logan? I think I know the answer to this one.
We went to Logan. I
Yeah.
didn't do Pocatello.
Yeah. You lived on a farm essentially, right? You
Yeah.
had farm animals and stuff. I think I remember being at your house when like a colt was born or something. Some random thing. So you might not have gotten out as much as some of us townies. You were working on the farm.
No, not a whole lot. I was just
Yeah.
there on the farm.
Speaking of that house, my dad was born in the house that Chad grew up in.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I knew
cool.
that house, the main part of it was a log cabin, and they just kept adding on to it and adding on to it.
Yeah.
I remember we were remodeling once, and we cut through a wall and hit logs. It's
Wow.
like, whoa. But it's
Wow.
not there, or it's been tore down.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. I bet I
Yeah.
could find it. I bet I could know where it was because it was kind of on a bend or a corner in the road there.
You just go up
As I
past
recall.
Rasmussen's old house.
Yeah.
Keep going. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. Your questions, Noel.
Okay. The last set of questions. This one you have to put on your deep thinking cap.
Okay.
What's something we might not know about you?
Something you may not know about me.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, I don't know that there's a whole lot.
I didn't know you went to BYU, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
We were in the same town.
Same town.
In one thing people probably don't know about me is I was extremely claustrophobic.
Hmm.
I remember in grade school, my parents put me in wrestling, and even being put on my back made me just go nuts with claustrophobia. And after about a month of wrestling, they're like, "I think we better let you drop." Because anytime somebody tried to pin me, I'd go nuts.
Well,
Punches thrown.
that would give you motivation to get off your back then. Huh?
Yeah, I don't think I lost, but it was not.
They could see the fear in your eyes. That's awesome.
When was the last time you were in Grace?
My wife's from Grace, and her mom's still there in Grace, and my brother lives on the farm, and my parents are, up in town, up by town now. We go 3 or 4 times a year, but the last year or so, my dad's health's not as good as it used to be, and my brother had a stroke, and so we go up a lot more. I was in Grace, probably about the end of June was the last time, but I've been to Grace like probably 4 or 5 times already this year.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry to hear about your dad.
Pretty awesome.
He's doing okay, just getting old. He's 85.
Wow.
Yeah.
About that. So is like Randy and his families, are they still there? Are they
Yeah.
still around Grace?
He's-
Okay.
Yeah. In
we'll
fact,
we'll get Randy on the show.
Yeah.
last time I was up there, it was a reunion, and Randy was there at it.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I guess people probably knew that your dad and Randy's dad are cousins or twins, right?
Yeah,
Most everybody knew that, I think.
yeah. Crazy thing that they're identical twins, and a lot of people struggle to tell them apart. And his mom is Joyce Mon, and my mom is Joyce Meekum.
Yeah.
And then my mom had identical twin brothers and identical twin sisters.
Oh, wow. That's
It's just
something.
any reunion I go to, there's twins everywhere.
How about that?
So did any of you kids have twins?
My youngest sister just had identical twin boys.
Oh,
Okay, so
wow.
I guess
Okay.
it runs in the family, right? Must
Yeah.
do.
So kind of crazy.
Yeah.
With the passage of time, what does growing up in Grace mean to you?
Gosh, just the community aspect. I remember, and I think this summarizes it pretty good for me. If you remember, I don't know how many years ago, 8 years ago or whenever it was, that Desiree Turner, Matt Turner's daughter, when she got
Yes.
shot,
Yes.
and I don't even remember what all happened with that, but I heard about it, and I think I posted it on.
Yeah, you did.
It was on our messenger and our
You did.
messenger group. You were the one.
You had contact with
informing
Matt.
us. Yeah.
Yeah, and I posted it on there, and I was just amazed at not only our class, but the class is older, the class is younger. It started reaching out to me, and they're like, "Hey, we want to send money. Can you get it to him?" And I would be at school or something. I'd come home, and my wife would say, "Hey, so and so dropped by, and they left an envelope, and it would be somebody from our class, and there's $100 in there or a check," and everyone just rallying around, and even people who weren't necessarily friends with Matt. But I just think that's grace. That's great.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the amount, but I think it was all said and done. I went over and visited him, and it was several $1,000s that people donated, and I that's just grace. I think we were just a good community that way, and you guys have kind of talked about that, but I think everyone just kind of looked out for each other.
Yeah. And we're going to get Matt on soon. I've been in touch with him, so hoping to get him.
Awesome.
Awesome.
He's very busy, but hopefully he can come on and talk with us. Is there something from your time growing up that you would like to do differently, or you could change if you could?
I think one of the biggest things is I wish I would have got to know some people better. There's classmates that I know that well, that I know who they were, but I never really got to know them. So I wish I would have got to know people a little bit better, and just maybe gave them a little more time and let them get to know me a little bit better. Because I think a lot of people out there that I would have been good friends with that I just never took the opportunity to.
You were too busy winning all these medals and
I don't know about that.
athlete, being such a good athlete. How do you feel you've changed?
I don't know that I've changed a lot. I was actually talking to my sister today, and she says that she's got a reunion coming up, and she says she looks at pictures of her classmates and like, geez, they look old. And she says, I don't look any older. And I think we see ourselves in the mirror and we don't notice the change, but obviously a little thinner on top, and when my daughter says, when I went and got a haircut, and then come back and she says, "Oh, Dad, you went and got your hairs cut." But, I think just maturity, but I think, one of the things is I don't take things for granted as much anymore. I look back and man, I was pretty blessed. I thought everybody's life was like mine, and being in the school system and seeing what others struggle with, it was pretty easy for me to get decent grades. I participated in whatever I wanted to. And, I look at kids in the school system now, and man, they have it tough. Some of them just, and that's the way they think life is. And so I think just recognizing how blessed I've been and not taking things for granted like I did.
Mm-hmm. Excellent answers. We really appreciate you coming on and sharing some time with us and reminiscing. It's been great.
I'm glad you guys are doing this because it's been awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Chad.
I think we're doing what you said that we should have done when we were in high school. We're getting to know.
It's true.
And
Yeah.
the goal is to get to know everybody.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I think it's awesome. I look forward to when they come out. And when they pop up, I'm like, okay, I got to carve out a time. When can I do?
Very good. I was glad to hear that.
Like this episode's going to be long because we like to talk and we like to catch up.
We talk. Yes.
but it's good. It's all good. So.
And it's fun here and see how everybody's doing and what they're up to. And so I appreciate you guys doing this. It's been great.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been great for us too. Just getting started apparently. So hopefully we'll keep it going. Hopefully we'll get a bunch more.
We're on episode 5. So
Yeah.
Okay, let's ask you real quick. If you know how many kids graduated from high school in 1989?
Oh, he might know with this like student council connection.
Oh, no, it sticks in my mind that it was like upper 50s.
Okay. I always thought it was 55. But then the thing is, we're interviewing some other kids that didn't graduate from Grace, but we feel like they're part of us because they were with us for so long.
We were one of the bigger classes, I remember.
Yeah.
Which, blows me away because, I was at the Box Elder Middle School that's 8th to 9th grade, and we had 1,200 students.
Yeah. A lot of kids.
Yeah. Yep. Enjoy your scenery. You got a beautiful yard, it looks like right there.
Yeah, that's another great background.
So,
it's pretty nice to relax out here in the shade.
So you said you have 3 acres. How much of it is like mowable lawn? Like how much do you mow? Because it looks like a pretty big lawn behind you.
Too much.
You got a rider? You got a rider at least?
No, I have a push.
Nice. All right.
You stay in shape, huh?
I'm sitting in about the middle of my yard, so I have about this much in front of me to the house too.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Oh, I bet you I'm probably about 140 feet by 140 foot yard.
Wow.
Too much.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
That is a lot.
You live right in town, or you're outside?
Well, Honeybill's probably about the size of Grace.
It's like Grace, yeah.
But not stores.
Yeah, because they're so close to Brigham.
Yeah.
As they say.
I'm just a little bit out away from Honeybill, about a 3/4 of a mile or so. Okay. Just along the highway there.
Oh, okay. I'm sure I've passed your house then. Just
Probably.
Driving from Brigham City down into where my grandma used to live. Yeah. Well, thanks so much, Chad. It's been so great to catch up with you. Tell Christy hi for us.
I will.
Yep. And
you guys, keep it up. We appreciate this.
You're welcome.
All right.
It's been fun.
Have a good night.
Have a great night. Enjoy that dog.
Yeah.
See ya.
Bye.
If you ever find yourself stuck in the middle of the sea, I'll sail the world to find you. If you ever find yourself lost in the dark and you can't see, I'll be the light to guide you. Find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in need. You can count on me like 1, 2